Hey, welcome back, everybody. Another episode of Champion Standard Podcast here. Today's episode, we'll be talking a little bit about some recruiting updates that we had this week, and then a little bit into the spring sports and some news and updates that are going on there, and then talk a little bit about the OKC Thunder. I know we don't talk about that much here, but they've moved on to another round, so it kind of feels important to talk about them a little bit. So I'll jump right into our recruiting news this week. I know last week we were on our podcast and Courtney Guillory committed during our podcast last week. That was a nice get.
Mm-hmm.
We had a couple of guys leave this week. Gavin Freeman entered the portal. We know the reasons for that. I mean, that's one of the deeper positions on the team. Be lucky to see the field unless there was a lot of injuries, in my opinion.
Yep.
And then General Booty has left.
The booty has left the building.
General, That's right. It was funny here recently. Both those guys, I listened to KREF. Both of them came on KREF talking within the last couple of weeks. You wouldn't have thought either one of them were going to be leaving the way they were talking. So hats off to them for, just staying positive all the way till the end or whatever.
Sure.
Hopefully they can. I think one of them's already found another landing spot. I think Booty may be in Iowa potentially.
Oh, wow.
I think I saw that this morning. I'm not sure about Freeman. But those were a few things that happened with this week, but that's not the big news of the week. The big news of the week happened Thursday night. Exactly. Yeah. Defensive tackle Damonic Williams commits to OU, transfer from TCU. This has been a long time coming.
Long time.
We have been trying to get these guys out of the portal for a while and, missing for one reason or another. And we got our guy. And against three SEC rivals and teams, to boot, which is always great. And all three of them are on our schedule, which I think is kind of nice too.
Yeah.
So, a lot of these guys we get out of the portal are just, kind of filling positions in need. This guy's a game changer, game wrecker, whatever you want to call him.
Yep.
Difference maker. I just think he's going to help the team all the way around, even on the offensive side. If this defense can become what I think it can be, and I know you feel the same way I do. So, yeah, what's your thoughts on the big boy?
Big boy, very stout. When I was looking at the film, he's a lot bigger than I thought he was. He plays bigger, but this ad, like you said, if you look at every defensive tackle that went into the transfer portal, whether it was spring or winter, this was the fit. Like, he fits the 3-3-5 perfectly. There was no other defensive tackle in this transfer portal, or maybe even last year's transfer portal, that would have fit this nose guard spot for the 3-3-5. So this is a match made in heaven here. Damonic Williams and this BV 3-3-5 defense that he wants to do. It's a match, and I'm excited to see what he brings to this defense. So,
yeah, I think I caught wind, and he was maybe a little bit unhappy with how they were playing him down at TCU.
Yep. And we're going to take a look at that.
Yeah, and that was part of his decision.
Absolutely.
For coming here is just to be able to, play where he's comfortable and where he fits best and can make the most plays. And I'm excited for it. I know Coach Bates has probably been grinning ever since Thursday evening. Can't keep the smile off his face.
Yeah.
And gosh, it just helps the entire defense.
Yep.
When you can put in a guy like him, that's just, he's gonna. Yeah, he could potentially make all the difference in the world from us being, good to great defense. I know some people have been saying, we'll be, top 3 or 4 defense if we get this guy. Maybe even one of the 2 best.
Before Dominic Williams, what did I tell you how I was feeling about this defense next year?
Yeah, I was thinking you said we were maybe 2nd or 3rd best. I could be wrong, but I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that.
I say top 2, top 3. That was without
Yeah,
Dominic
yeah,
Williams.
yeah.
That was me just really riffing, but I really with even with the pieces that they have at the back 7, they were gonna be really dang good, and especially with the SEC losing a lot of quarterbacks and breaking a lot of new
Mhm.
quarterbacks in, I felt like with our back 7, we're gonna be able to mix and match coverages week to week, and now I feel like with Dominic Williams, what he adding this guy into the defensive rotation, what he does for everything from the back end to the edge room, everything, it's gonna be great.
Yeah. Um, and I think it makes, huh, you know, everybody's, excited on the defensive side of the ball, but I think the linebackers in particular really like guys like this. I can think back, and I know this was before your time, but I know Bosworth
Mhm.
and Tony Casillas played for OU back in the mid to late '80s, and Bosworth got all the credit in the world, right? But guess who was doing the dirty work? It was Tony Casillas and the other guys up
Yep.
front making those holes, letting him do his thing. So I guarantee you, the Stutzmans, the Lewis, McKenzie's, and all those guys are salivating. Just they can't wait, you know, for a guy like that to come in and just create some space, allow
Yeah.
them to do what they need to do. So,
Yeah, I'll tell you a quick story. I heard this story from about Bill Belichick and how he when he would go to the scouting combine, especially early with the New England Patriots and trying to build a new roster, he would sit right behind the defensive linemen as they would do their 40 times. And he would sit there and he would look and he would want to see how big are their butts? How thick are those legs? Because as a linebacker, you want guys that are just monsters in front of you. They're going to eat gaps. I mean, that's just what they're going to do. They're going to close gaps and all that stuff. And that's how he was one of his things was to go to the combine and just that's how he kind of made his evaluations is if I'm a linebacker, I want someone that's a big boy in front of me that's going to win the point of the attack. So Dominic Williams, he's a thick dude, man. He's stout.
he is thick.
He's stout. Like he is
He,
not a small. I mean, right? I mean, he's a defense line, but
mhm.
you read this. He's 6'1", 6'2", 300 pounds. 6'2", 300 pounds can mean 20 different things. And this guy, he's got a strong lower body, very strong lower body. He's kind of sawed off, and he wins battles. He wins leverage battle over and over again, and we're gonna see that later.
Yeah, he carries that 320 well. Just some of the pictures. Anybody next to Brent. Brent's not the tallest guy in stature, of course, but you can tell the guy's got, yeah, he just carries his weight real well. Very thick. Um, Speaking of, did you did you see the picture of Brent with that jersey on?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
that was
did.
nice. Yeah, Brent still stays in shape. The guy
Yeah,
still. Oh my gosh.
I bet he lifts every day. I
Yeah,
bet he lifts every day. I bet he works out maybe twice a day, maybe. I
yeah,
mean, yeah, he's in shape.
yeah. The
Makes me feel
legend,
like
the legend,
I need to get back to it, right? Ooh.
the legend of Jimmy Green Beans continues.
Jimmy Green Beans.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. He's gonna be a great addition. That goes without saying. Um, uh, I think we're probably done in the portal with defense. You know,
I mean, we've brought in a center. We've brought in a great explosive receiver. We've got our nose guard that fits
mm,
perfect.
mhm.
I I don't really know if there's
Uh,
anything that we would can bring in.
what I think's going to happen though is when practices start up, they're going to wish they had more offensive linemen all of a sudden.
They're gonna start getting beat up.
They're gonna be like, "Where'd this guy come from? Wait, I think we need another guard or another tackle or something, man. We got to keep this guy occupied." So,
Hey,
uh,
I wouldn't put it past them with the way that OU NIL is on fire. I
yeah,
feel like the coach is just like, "Hey, we need one more," and
yeah,
OU NIL is like, "All right, we got you."
yeah. I'd be fine with another tackle, honestly, on the line. So we'll see. Um, but yeah, I know you got a little more on Dominic Williams here in a bit, but let's move on a little bit to some spring sport news. I know we spent a lot of our time talking football, but let's shift gears a little bit and kind of want to start with softball a little bit. The Bedlam series is going on this weekend. Tough loss last night. Needed to sweep the series in order to win the regular season title. Now we're going to need a little help from Texas Tech, and actually going to need a game right now. I'm watching it. It's 0-0, fourth inning. So yeah, I kind of need to. May have a long ball. Nope, a little short. Gosh darn it. So yeah, we were working on our 12th straight regular season conference title.
Man,
And I think we may come up a game short or two this year, and Texas may end up sliding in there. The last 4 or 5 years, we of course got we're riding the three-peat right now. We got 5 seniors on our team: Kenzie Hansen, Jada Coleman, Tiara Jennings, Riley Boone, and Nicole May, who are all 5 working on a 4-peat. Which is unheard of in any sport. Just coming to your college of choice and potentially walking away with nothing but natties.
that is
Can you imagine?
that is unreal.
Yeah,
Especially at that level. We're talking about Division I softball here. I mean, this isn't like high school or even like little league. This is like the cream of the crop. This is as best as you can get, and to go your entire career with just knowing how it feels like to hold a gold trophy.
yep. 1-0, by the way. We just pushed a run across, so right on cue. So we took the lead here in the 4th inning, bottom of the 4th. Yeah, and Patty Gasso, Natty Patty, as she's referred to, which was his classic. Got her 1,500th win as OU coach the other day. I mean, 1,500 wins. Can you imagine?
My goodness.
I know they play a lot more games, than football and other sports, but 1,500, that's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And she's 3rd on the all-time list at 1,500. So she's still, I'm sure, trying to be that, all-time winner or whatever. I don't know what her goals are, but she could stick around a few more years and potentially get that. They opened the new ballpark this year, Loves Field down there. Unfortunately, we took an L down there a couple of months ago in the new field, so we weren't able to quite christen that like we wanted to. But
right,
they're still a great team. Going to make some noise, I'm sure, here in the conference tournament, which will probably be next weekend. And then, of course, regionals, super regionals, and hopefully they can advance to another World Series. This team's just, lacking a little something. It doesn't mean they're not good. It just means they don't quite have the edge that they did last year, and can go out and just name their number and run rule every team they play. Natty's had some good recruiting classes, and she can hit the transfer portal hard. She can almost go out and pluck whoever she wants out of the portal, which is fine with me. Exactly. I know the Texas coach cries about that, so he can just keep crying. That's fine with me.
Texas tears are always so delicious.
Yeah. They had some of those this week too in our recruiting battle, so just keep them coming.
Yeah, what's that guy's name? Ketchup, whatever his name, Ketchup of Texas. He's like crying all the time about OU's transfer
Jeff
portal
Ketchum.
stuff.
Yeah, he's a big crybaby. So yeah, hopefully they can keep it rolling. I kind of consider OU softball the gold standard of college sports right now with what they've done. So if any of the other sports, for OU can come close to attaining what they've attained in the SEC and beyond, we got some good things coming.
For sure.
So moving on from softball a little bit, baseball. The baseball team is leading the Big 12. I was going to say much like the softball team, but that's not the case right now. They're in Lubbock this weekend. They won last night. So if they can win another series there, that'll help them to be the regular season champions. I think they got one more series at home next weekend. I think it's potentially Baylor, and that'll be the end of the baseball season. So hopefully they can hang on and be the 1 seed and go win the tournament. 2 years ago, they went to the College World Series and made it to the College World Series final. Ended up losing to Ole Miss, but that was one of those, magical runs. I'm hoping they can put another one of those together. They got a lot of upperclassmen on their team, so hopefully they can put it together. But there's a lot of young guys on that team too. So kind of looking forward to see if they can make another run at it. I did want to mention a couple other sports. I know they're not spring sports; they actually wrap up in the spring. But women's basketball, I just kind of wanted to mention a big addition that Jenny Baranchek had this week. She got a two-time All-American center from Oregon State. Reagan Beers to transfer.
Love the name.
Yeah, I know.
Love the name. That is an awesome name.
She's not going to get any NIL deals, is she?
If she hasn't locked up at least 2 craft breweries in Norman, something's wrong.
Yeah, Sooner Schooner beer ale that's out there ought to be talking to her if nothing else.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But Jenny Baranchek beat out UConn Gino Ariema for her services next year, which is impressive. Yeah. So she's a big time center, and they got a ton of people coming back next year. So I'm expecting some potential deep run into the tournament next year. And I think they've won the Big 12 regular season title the last couple of years. I know they did this year and maybe the year before. So I think Jenny's been a great hire, the last couple of years and doing some good things, taking over for, her name's escaping me now, that was with OU for so long, head coach.
Very cool.
Thank you. But yeah, she's got it rolling pretty good, and she can get this girl to come in and start recruiting a little better. Maybe she can turn this into one of the top 10 programs in the country. So looking forward to that. Men's basketball has kind of been on a slide here lately. Trying to put that nicely. I think we've lost, we had 3 that we lost that just ran out of eligibility, but we had 5 underclassmen that decided they wanted to transfer out. I said 5. Yeah. How many are on the court at the same time? 5.
How many is on your roster? 15, right?
Exactly.
So it's like you lost 3 and then you had 5 transfer out. I mean, that's more than half your team. And I mean, these guys were not bench warmers. I mean, these guys were either going to be counted on to step up this next year and actually take on significant roles, or they already had a significant role.
I think Porter Mosier's been here, I want to say 3 years. We haven't made the tournament yet. Yeah. Which isn't the standard here. We got to make the tournament. We're not asking for Final Fours. We're just asking you to get in the tournament every year. So there's a little bit of
we want to be competitive. Like when our season ends and you deny the NIT and all this other stuff, but you can't just get into the top 64 to be in the tournament and just be competitive. that's not a high bar for, I don't think, for OU basketball. Does it take a little bit more NIL? Sure. Does it take a charismatic coach, which I think Porter Moser is, to get the students to buy in? But with all these guys transferring out and everything, I don't think it's all just NIL. It sounds like there's probably some locker room issues. I don't. What's his deal like? Do you know his deal? Is he locked up for another couple years? Like, what's the contract like on him?
I don't know his contract. I think he's locked up, for this year coming up, and maybe that's it. Because I've heard people say, they're not gonna fire Mosier. They're gonna let him, ride out his contract or whatever.
Well,
So
when it comes to coaches and D1 and professional, you always have to give them at least 3 years. I am not a proponent of hiring a coach for 1 year and firing him. Like, that doesn't give him any time to work. I feel like Porter Moser's had 3 years. You should see if he's, a steady incline to his vision. He, as a coach, you come in, you've got a plan, and yes, there's some deviations to your plan, but 3 years I think is adequate enough time to apply your vision. Like, what do you expect from this team? And after 3 years, and especially if he gets a fourth, what it sounds like he's going to get a fourth year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a lot riding on your fourth year when you've got to rebuild your entire team.
Yeah, and he's had to rebuild his team. I want to say every year that he's got a nickname. Portal. Yeah,
Porter.
Something like that. Yeah, I couldn't even spit it out. That's what it is. Yeah, that's his nickname right now. So, yeah, I'm hoping they can get it. Hoping he can get it turned around. I'm sure him and Josie have had some conversations. That if things don't turn around this next year, entering the SEC, that they may have to look a different direction. Yeah, so hopefully Porter can get things turned around down there. I know I'm a fan of him. I hope he seems like a good enough guy. So hopefully things will start turning the right direction down there. I know he just needs a couple of classes to come through and a little production on the court. So yeah, transition away a little bit here from the spring sports and move on to the Oklahoma City Thunder. They made it through the first round with the youngest number 1 seed in playoff history.
Heck yeah.
Youngest number 1. Man, that's impressive.
They're young. Very young. They're very young.
Yeah, Sam Presti knows what he's doing. That guy's a great GM. And I know other teams, other players even recognize him. So, yeah, moving on. They swept the Pelicans. I'm glad, not glad, but we didn't have to face Zion Williamson. He got banged up a little bit. So that helped our path in the first round at least. But yeah, it's still impressive getting a sweep. I know that watching that first game, you could tell they had some first game jitters, played a little tight. But once they got that out of their system, man, they played great those last 2 or 3 games. And you wouldn't know that it's a bunch of guys' first playoff games. I mean, they came out and looked great.
It's team basketball. It's team basketball at its finest. I mean, yeah, the offense, runs through Shea, but as you watch them in like that first half, like they are like, who's going to go off? They distribute the ball. There's no egos on this team. There's no selfish characters, Katie. So like they get the ball working around and they get everyone involved. And because they're young and these guys are all kind of growing up together through the league, and Shea being kind of the veteran now. I mean, it's just a good team to watch. I mean, this is when we talk, Oklahoma City Thunder and being a fan, this is the kind of teams that you want to get behind. Is that genuine? You could see how much they actually love playing basketball with each other. I mean, it's awesome. It's just a fun time to be a Thunder fan right now.
Yeah, no, they're having a great time. Yeah, you can tell just the way they interact with one another. you've probably seen. I don't know if you've seen the commercial or not with Shea and Chet.
Yes.
I get
Yeah.
cracked up every time I see that.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're getting a lot of notoriety, and the thing about it is, yeah, they're the youngest team, the youngest or second youngest team in the league, and I already mentioned the youngest team to ever be a 1 seed. But man, Sam Presti still has draft picks just stockpiled.
We know. He's a wizard, man.
Oh my
He's a
gosh.
wizard. He's just like, how many picks can I get?
Yeah.
Collect them all.
It's nuts. I think we're stacked for at least until like 2029 or 2028 or something like
Yeah.
that. So, we're just on the cusp of how good this team can be.
Yeah.
As long as we can keep the nucleus together. I'm looking forward to it. And,
with the draft picks, NBA is a little bit different. I follow the NFL hardcore. NBA, it feels like these GMs, they're just like, Presti's like, oh yeah, I'll trade you a player, give me your one, and they're like, sure, I'll give you one, and he just always asks, hey, kick it, give me a kicker, and chuck me a one, and he gets another one, and over again. Now he's got all these ones, and I always felt like Presti and his draft staff, his admin, his analysts are really good at drafting talent. I mean, that's how you're going to win. I think when he drafted KD and Harden and Westbrook, and going in, we got good, and now our picks fell. And I think he learned that you're not going to pull in those free agents. It's really hard to pull in those free agents to OKC. It just is. Yep. They want the LA life, they want the New York life, they want the branding, all that stuff. That's fine. And I think when we had to have a reset, Westbrook moved on, Paul George moved on. They got all kinds of picks, and he's not going to stop. He's like, okay, I'm just going to load up for picks. I'm going to have 2 number ones, 3 number ones. I'm going to have another number one. I'm going to have multiple chances for my draft team that I know is good and finding talent. And then I'm going to get great coaches, and we're going to develop them. And that is our play. I'm not going to worry about free agents. What has been his biggest free agent? Gordon Hayward?
Yeah, here recently.
I mean,
the last couple of years, that's been it.
And that was, hey, can you please take this contract? And we're like, sure, we got room for it. Bring him on. I think you're right. We're going to end up keep drafting talent. Eventually, what's going to happen is we're going to have a great all-around basketball team that has veteran and new young guys that are going to be the new guns, the new guys that are going to end up, shooting the ball and all that stuff. And they're going to have a top-down great roster. I think this is the formula. I think Sam Presti's learned in the past, and I think this is the formula to winning a championship, is just stockpiling picks and draft players and develop them and not worry about the free agency stuff ever again.
Yeah. No, you hit it on the head with, Presti and his staff, just recognizing talent and knowing what they need and just going out and finding it. And yeah, it's amazing. I hopefully we can keep, Presti around. If there's, the players are.
He's been here since the beginning.
I know. I don't know why we wouldn't be able to, but he seems pretty content here. But you never know with guys like that. So, well, we found out last night who our second round opponent is. Dallas ended up eliminating the Clippers. We know Dallas is a handful between Luka and Kyrie. They're going to get theirs. What you just hope is if they get theirs, no one else gets any.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's you just kind of want to let them, get their 30 points, get their 25 points, and just play good defense.
Right.
Because they're something else. They're fun to watch. It's a nice little I-35 series here. Just back and forth. It's not a real road game, so to speak, like some other places. So it'll be a fun series. Looking forward to it. I think that starts Tuesday.
Good. Okay. Good.
Yeah. So it'll be here before we know it.
We got some quality rest with that sweep. And we were able to look at the film and all that stuff to see what the Mavs have been doing. Yeah, that's gonna be a fun series. I've always liked the little rivalry we have with Dallas in any capacity, whether it's the Mavs and Thunder. So yeah, that's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, it feels like we have a rivalry with all the Texas teams, whether it's Dallas, San Antonio, or Houston.
Oh
It's
yeah,
a proximity thing,
yeah.
But no, I hope they can keep advancing and keep going on. I heard Mark Dagnall, you mentioned the time off. He said the time off has been great just for getting healthy, getting some rest. But he said, there's always the bad side of it is they're dealing with, being off for a length of time they're not used to. So he's just trying to make sure they stay focused and not, be a little flat next Tuesday, like a team that, hadn't played in a while. So he's concerned about that. So hopefully not. Hopefully they can keep it rolling. Man, that'd be something if they can. Can you imagine if we're going to a parade here in the next 6 weeks or something?
Hey, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I know, but oh my gosh,
you got to get through you got to get through the Mavs.
I know.
You still got the Celtics and their big three. I mean,
yeah, I'm not trying to jump ahead, but other people joke about it, and I do too. So
if they keep playing the way that they're playing, team ball defense, man, defense has just been so much better this year than years past, and that starts with Holmgren. But they play defense. Like, they held the Pelicans to 88 points per game. I mean, that's really dang good, even for a playoff game. Are they going to do that for the Mavericks? No, but if they can stay on that run of we're going to play great defense and we're going to play team ball, and with as many talented guys that they have, they're going to, I have them winning the Mavs. I have them winning 4-3. 4-3 against the Mavs. Yeah, it's going to be a long one. It's going to be a long one. It's going to be a long series, but I think they get it.
Okay. You have the Mavs winning or the Thunder?
No. I have the Thunder winning against the Mavs 4-3.
Sorry, I misheard you. Sorry.
No, Oklahoma City Thunder will win the series 4-3 against the Mavs.
Okay.
It's gonna be a long one, but because they know each other so well. They know each other's game. They know each other's strategy. It's gonna come down to some really big plays, and I just think our team ball and our defense comes out ahead.
Yeah, I like that we got Lou Dort. We just kind of lock him in on every team's, one of their best shooters. So Lou will get the assignment, to guard Luka or Kyrie or something like that. So I love Dort's nickname. Do you know his nickname?
No.
The Dorture Chamber. You get put in the Dorture Chamber when you're going up against Lou Dort.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah, you like that?
That's great.
Yeah.
It's very creative. Whoever came up with that.
Yeah.
Good job.
So, yeah, you're just getting locked down. You'll get locked down and let out when the series is over.
I never heard of that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Isn't it?
I mean, he's a great defender. I didn't know that he was a great defender with a nickname.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's see. Denver and Minnesota, I think, start tonight. That's going to be a great series. And then Boston moved on. I haven't even kept track really with the East. I'll worry about that if we advance a couple more rounds and start looking at our other opponents, But yeah, it's exciting times. I need to get me a Thunder shirt. Proudly wear me a Thunder shirt on our podcast every now and then.
Yeah, we can do that. I got a brand new one. I got a brand new one. When they beat the Mavs, we can do another update.
Yep. Sounds good. I know we talked about some recruiting news earlier, and the big get that we got, and Damonic Williams. I know you had a little more we wanted to talk about with him, so we can go into that if you want to.
Yeah, let's go into
little Bedlam update. It's 1-1, bottom of the 5th.
Let's see here. All right. So these highlights are
Nice. You picked a nice opponent, dude.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's not all OU.
I know, but
So we gotta have to be kind of aware how we talk about this because we got some audio listeners. So I'll try to my best to um, be aware of that. So what do we got? We got a little splice of Dominic Williams, and we'll just kind of go through his game of what some of the things that he brings to the table, what he brings to this defense, and
who's
and
that
like
big guy? Who's that big guy, number 52, right there? And
he's a stout boy, man.
okay,
He's
okay,
a stout boy. Like
all right,
he moves really well.
yeah.
Uh, so let's go into this real quick, and I'll see if I can. It's the first time I've ever done this, so give me a minute. I gotta make sure I got all my controls here.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. So he's right there, and all this clip is this first one is I want pay attention to how his hands are violent, and look how active his feet is. That's him versus Sexton, and I'm just gonna let it play. I'm just gonna let this play. This is where here's another play where he works to the outside. He nearly pushes a running back into Dylan Gabriel. Here he is, and he's pushing Rame, and he goes and hits the quarterback again. Dylan Gabriel does a good thing, but as you're watching him, I mean, he's a walking havoc. I mean, he's just havoc the whole time. He's got violent hands. He's got great arm extension. He moves laterally pretty well. He's got a strong lower body to anchor gaps. I mean, he makes mincemeat of guards and centers. I mean, he just does. He gets underneath them, and here's a clip from the media request here. This is the one that goes around. He had 4 sacks last year. This was one against Baylor where he was working at the 5 on a tackle. The other one was from Nicholls State. Another one was from SMU garbage time. He's not a pass rusher. This is not a guy that's going to, generate a pass rush from the outside or anything like that. This is a guy who creates havoc in the middle. And this is one of my favorite plays. This is against BYU. He's a nose guard. And again, he makes mincemeat of centers and guards. Watch this play here. I mean, he gets inside you all the time.
Hey, back up. Who was that center? Who was that center?
This is not Braxton. This is not our new guy. This is
that's no. Is that Kingsley? That's not the guy that the Chiefs drafted, is it? Okay.
Kingsley was left tackle.
I was trying to give you a hard time there.
Yeah. So here's against Texas, and you alluded to earlier about how TCU used him. Well, they used him as a 5 technique way too much. And as much as TCU wants to talk about how NIL and we were tampering, all this crap, it was actually how they used him, because they used him as a 5 way too much. Here he is as a 5. He's actually lined up against Kelvin Banks Jr. of Texas, who's a top 15 pick next year at left tackle. And predominantly for 3 quarters, they lined Dominic Williams over him. Here he is. This is just him working the line, and finishing the play. This is one of my favorite plays. So I put this in here. This is a duo concept. You're getting a double between both the tight end and the tackle. You're getting a double by the tight end and tackle. The running back 2 actually comes down, but I want you to make a mark here. He's at the 21, right? He's at the 21-yard line. He's going to take on 3 blockers. And I want you to tell me where he ends up after this play.
Yeah, he's on the 18, by the way.
Oh, 18, sorry. Yeah,
no
18.
problem.
So tell me, where does he end up after 3 guys block him?
Yeah, he didn't get moved far.
No. And this this play, the reason why I put this in was because this is a classic spill and fill play. He understands he's taking on 2 blockers. He probably doesn't know he's taking on 3. But he understands I need to make a wall. So I'm making a wall. I made myself a wall, and I'm going to make my backers give them an opportunity to make the play. And as much as like Charlie on the Football Brainiacs and a lot of people have been saying, "Oh, this is going to make the team better," this is an example, because if he doesn't make the wall and this line caves, then that running back has way more room to make somebody miss. Instead, watch the running back how he doesn't know where he's going to go, and then he finally makes his decision, but it's too late. The linebacker's there. Boom, nowhere.
Yeah,
That's his stuff. And this
little
is
2-yard gain. That's it. Yep.
And this is a stat that does not get put on anything. There's no analytics for it. There's no PFF. There's no college football data. Nothing. But plays like this, when NFL teams are watching you and they're trying to evaluate the kind of player that you are, and they can see that you can take on 3 blockers and the line does not cave, that's a big damn deal. And he, like I said, he plays the 5 technique a lot in this game. This is I have some clips of him again. This is 1-on-1 versus Kelvin Banks Jr. of Texas, left tackle. That's future top 15 pick in next year's draft. This is a nose guard versus a tackle. That's a dang good rep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he gets underneath it.
And,
go ahead.
And you don't ask guys like him to be pass rushers. You ask guys like them to occupy everyone else to allow your pass rushers to be pass rushers.
Yep.
So
at the fourth quarter here, it's now the fourth quarter. It's 12 minutes. They're down a couple of possessions. Now they need some run stops. So TCU said, okay, now we're going to move you to nose guard, and we're going to have you stop the run. And this is where he's asked, hey, I need you to create havoc in the middle. And again, he makes mincemeat of guards and centers, gets underneath the center, and makes the play. And that's a difference, when you're talking about a 2-3 yard gain versus a 6-7 yard gain in the run, especially in the SEC, that can be a difference of win or a loss. I mean, this one, I just watched how the center, he just gets again, he wins the leverage battle every time. He's got a great first step. He gets your hands on you. He extends. Look at that center. He's literally standing up. That guy, he pushed him so far back, he's standing up and looking at him.
Yeah.
That's why we got him. I mean, that's what you need. If you're going to play the 3-3-5, you need a nose guard that's going to create havoc. And I'm going to replay this. I'm going to set you up for this one.
Yeah, and whether we're in a 3-3-5 or, a 4-man front,
Yep.
Yeah, he just needs to be on the interior. That's all there is to it.
Another good play here. I put this in here. I want to ask you, watch this play again. Do you see holding? Is that a hold? Is that a hold?
Yeah.
I put that in. I was like, man, is that a hold? That looks like a hold to me. And that's where I come to another point is when you got a guy that's vertically getting upfield in the interior like he does, and he's violent and he's got great arm extension. This is the fourth quarter. This O-line's been beating against him all night long. I think those average guards, those average centers in the SEC are not going to like playing against him, and they're going to end up getting called for some flags. I see that. You see that? Like, he
didn't get the jersey tug necessarily that those guys are looking for a lot of times, but
I feel like that's a hold, but
and it's harder to see on the interior than sometimes on the boundary.
So I'm just gonna let it play. I'm not gonna stop it, and I'll just kind of give you my notes as I was watching this guy, and again, Dominic Williams is just the perfect fit for what they want to do in the 3-3-5 defense. He's got just a terrific job of maintaining his balance and keeping the guards and centers driven backwards. I mean, over and over again, you can see guards and centers just getting driven backwards, and he's always winning the line of scrimmage battle every single time. And
those OU highlights, it's hard for me not to watch OU. I'm watching the wrong side of the ball. I can't help it, man.
Yeah. And he anchors well with his planted foot, or planted feet. He halts the blockers' momentum. He even throws some blockers aside with some like man side strength. He does a good job overall keeping his head up and locating the ball carrier. Remember, he's 6'2" and he's in the interior. Guys get lose where the ball is all the time. He doesn't. And his pass rush, quote unquote pass rush, is just abuse centers and guards, knock them backwards and into the quarterback's throwing platform. Make that quarterback move to the left or the right, and then try to make a throw, or move left or to the right into your edge. Right. So when you go back to what Charlie and the football brains and other people alluded to, how he makes everyone better. If he's pushing the pocket from the center, those edge players should be licking their chops. If a quarterback can't step up, if he can't step up because he's got his own guard in front of him, that edge can come in and take the play. Run game, he's just tremendous job working laterally. He does not get reached, and he forces his own blocker into the ball carrier's path all the time. I mean, you look at these highlights, I'll back it up. Like these early highlights, he's pushing the guards and centers into the gap that the running back's trying to get to and closes it. So even if he's getting blocked, he's still doing his job with his strength. Active feet, man. I mean, his feet never stop moving, and his hands are never stop moving. He could be in step 5, 6, 7, and it doesn't matter. Like his hands, he understands what the O-line's trying to do, and he just keeps going. Like he doesn't stop. He's got a tremendous motor for a guy his size. Go ahead and stop screen here. So
great addition.
Fantastic. Yeah. And going back to what you alluded to earlier about how him leaving TCU, it was not all NIL. It was not all NIL. TCU did him a disservice. They underutilized his talents. They underutilized his greatest strength of creating havoc versus centers and guards by playing him over tackles at the 5, especially in the Texas game against Kelvin Banks Jr. That doesn't make any sense. For 3 entire quarters, he's a nose guard playing at the 5. So going to OU, I have no doubt that Britt Venerables is going to play him at nose guard. He'll probably play a little bit at the 3, very, very rarely at the 5. I believe that when Williams was going through his recruitment, he was saying, hey, this is the snaps I want, and this is the NIL I want. My player comparison is Andrew Billings.
I thought you were going to say Ndamukong Suh there for a second.
No. Andrew Billings. He was 2013 Baylor.
Okay.
Another solid off guy. He's about 6'2", 300. Got drafted to the Browns, I believe. He's had a 6-7 year career in the NFL, and his whole career has just been this. Just create havoc, push pockets, close gaps. That's it.
Yeah.
You play a shaded nose guard. Naturally, you're going to get double teamed, and you're going to work vertically and win. And that's what he does.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, somebody that's just going to, you said it, wreak havoc. We just need that on the interior. Anybody, we can wreak havoc on the interior. Sky's the limit for our ends. All right, Chavis, show us what they can do. At this
no
point,
excuses. No excuses now. You can't tell me. I mean, the edge production has to go double what they did last year across the board. Hits, hurries, sacks, as a group needs a double. Because when you got this guy that is going to own the A gap, period, that's his gap. over and over again, and linebackers can scrape and spill freely to the edges, run game, pass rush, all of that. I mean, this is just the fit is why I was so jacked up a couple of days ago. I was jacked when we got this guy because the fit is just perfect. It is a perfect fit.
Yeah. Yeah. And, Charlie on Football Brainiacs this morning wrote up a nice article, which I was thinking about the other day. This doesn't just make our defense better. This makes the entire team better. Because if you can become an elite defense and control the game, it allows your offense to, game plan and do what they want to do and not feel like they have to score on every possession.
Mm-hmm.
You'd like them to score on every possession, but that's not going to happen in the SEC. Nope. So, we can game plan and just play field position the whole game. You know what I mean? And just back teams up, make them punt, give us a short field. Just little things like that are going to be a luxury for us if this defense can pan out the way we think it can. So, yeah, great move.
Fantastic.
Good job, Brent, Bates, whoever, solidified this guy's commitment. Now we'll just have to see how it plays out this fall.
Yeah, my top 2 defense in the SEC ain't looking too bad now.
No,
I really feel like we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. There's no way that we're not gonna get top 2 defense. I'm looking at scoring defense. When I say top 2 defense, I'm saying scoring defense in the SEC with that schedule.
Which the schedule is brutal. I keep looking at it and it gives me nightmares every time I look at it. I'm hoping the schedule changes before September. But yeah, you're right. I'm not going to argue with you on top 2, 3 defense. If we're third, that's great for that league.
It's really good.
If we're second or better, we know we have a special defense. You were talking about points per game. I was looking at that yesterday. You're the analytic guy, but I started looking at it a little bit yesterday myself. I wanted to look at points per game for both offense and defense in the SEC. And I don't know if I still have it pulled up or not. Let me see here. Yeah, I don't think I have it pulled up, but I was looking at there's for an example, Alabama averaged 35 points per game on offense. They gave up 20, 21 on defense. So there's a 14-point margin there, right? So I was looking and I was comparing records to those differentials.
Sure.
And it looked like to me, if you were better than 12 on that differential, then you had a 6-win team, 6-2 in the league, up to 8-0. I think Georgia, of course, had the biggest differential. I think it was like 24 or something crazy like that. Yeah. And then a couple of others, but the magic number was definitely above 12. And so, if we can average, 30, similar to Alabama last year, if we can average 35 points a game, hold our opponents to 20, 21 a game, we're going to win a lot of ball games.
Heck yeah.
Just to give you a comparison, in the Big 12 last year, during conference play, we gave up 26.6 points a game on defense.
We gave up 26.
We gave up 26 points a game, which is not good in the Big 12. It's not good in any conference at all. That would have got you maybe 2 or 3 wins in the SEC by comparison.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So, you and I think this team's probably going to be as good as the offense can let it be this year.
I think so. I think the total success, like you said, at the end of the year is going to be well, how much can this offense generate points to help their defense? Because I like you mentioned earlier, I think the defense is going to set the offense up to win a lot of games. It's just, can the offense actually move the ball?
Yeah, and we averaged 40 points a game offensively during conference play last year, and we know that's gonna fall back. So if it does
That's
fall back to 30, 34, 35 points a game, well, the defense better make that big leap this year and hold the opponents to 6 or 7 points less a game. So just make that margin a lot bigger, and win those crucial games, and hopefully, we have a kicker that can win some of those close games too. So,
let's not talk about that, man.
yeah,
Let's not make this
yeah,
depressing.
yeah. We'll leave that alone right now. So. But yeah, good week. Anytime you can land a guy like that, it's like recruiting heaven here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
do you have your depth chart on you by any chance?
Possibly.
Bring it up. Yeah, I'm just thinking now with a 3-man rotation now looks like with Damonic Williams and Lille. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so final thought.
So we've
got in a 3-man rotation, right? If we're playing a 3-3-5, which is predominantly what we're going to be running next year, our 3-man rotation. So a 3 starters. We've got Mason Thomas, Damonic Williams, Grayson Halton, Ethan Downs, Caden Willard, Jermaine Lole, Dejon Terry, Trace Ford, PJ, Jaden Jackson, David Stone. I mean, that adding those 2 guys into this room, now we've got, I feel like we've got a problem of how many snaps everyone's gonna get.
Yeah.
I mean,
and you're not asking a freshman to come in and play right away.
And we shouldn't. And that's the thing. Earlier during spring ball, I was kind of confused with everyone saying, "Oh, David Stone's ready, Jaden Jackson, he's ready," all this stuff, and it's like, guys, they're 18 and they were just playing high school ball. Now they're going to the Champions League. This is not a good thing. And they went into the transfer portal and they got these 2 guys, these 2 experienced guys that are going to end up taking starter reps now, which is a good thing because now the young guns have plenty of time to develop. They'll get their time, they'll get their snaps in next year, but now they can basically take the year off. I mean, I don't think we should count on the freshmen to make impact. David Stone and Jaden Jackson, if all things were right, we wouldn't be relying on them to do anything. Right. But just develop your game and be ready for next year, because Lole and Damonic Williams both are 1-year rentals. They're gone next year. So, but now that rotation, especially in the interior, Damonic Williams, Dejon Terry, Lole, and Halton now can rotate at nose guard.
I know.
That's
impressive.
That's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Just think, a few weeks ago, looking at this depth chart and looking at it now, we had no Lowell or Lole, however you say his name, or no Williams. So we were counting on Terry and Halton staying healthy.
Yep.
And a couple of freshmen coming in and making an impact right away,
So we'll wrap it up with this last question I'm going to give you.
Oh gosh, here we go.
Do you like the transfer portal?
I do like the transfer portal.
Awesome. I do.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Yeah.
being able to upgrade your team in May, like, that's awesome.
I like the transfer portal because of how this coaching staff approaches it and closes the deals on guys that we need. If we didn't have a coaching staff that was doing that, I might have a different opinion. But for 2 years in a row now, I feel like we've got some needs out of the portal. We might have missed out on one of these D tackles last year, but we got one this year. So no, I like the portal. What is there? Is there 2 or 3 portal windows a year?
Man, I thought there was 2,
I
but I have
I,
no idea.
I lose track, but I like the idea of having 2 because I don't think one's enough a lot of times, just with circumstances that may happen.
Mm-hmm.
I know we have slight differences on the NIL side of things, but portal transfer, yeah, I'm in complete agreement. I like it. It allows us to upgrade our roster. We got lucky. Just a quick Bedlam update, by the way. Not good news. OSU's up 6-2 in the top of the 6th. They just hit a 3-run home run. Yeah, not good. So I like being able to upgrade our roster. If Dominic Williams plays for an SEC team, we wouldn't have been able to make this move because you're not allowed to make, intra-conference transfers. So that's a big deal. That's why you saw all the SEC teams in on him, is because he wasn't already at an SEC school. So yeah, no, I love it, especially on weeks like this week.
Heck yeah. It's great, man. It's a great time. This is too much fun. I love it. We're in May and we're upgrading the roster. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So now another great podcast. I know we'll have to be creative here for the next few months, until August gets here and fall camp starts. But I know we got a lot of ideas, maybe get some guests here to come on with us, and there's always something going on. So looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Guess until next time, we'll sign off. Boomer Sooner, and go Thunder.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, and tell us what you think.